Okay, hey the YouTube. Um, I'm gonna do a. I'm getting in early just in case I'm not up to it later in the week. But I'm gonna start structuring my streams with a little bit more uh, aim or direction. And this one here is about character creating. I've seen a lot of creations of characters that are pretty good, doing all the things right, and then I've seen other ones that are like there's huge potential, but they just screw some of the big do's and don'ts up. So the red puppets do not do that. The green puppets do that. Um, uh, the main the main issues are the head when it comes to the camera work, the butt cheeks, and the leg positionings, and also movement. So let's get the head out of the way to start with. Um, I'll do a quick little sculpt on the head. I am not going to change anything too major because it's meant to be a guide, not a this is exactly how you do it. It's meant to be like don't do this or do this. This will make it look better or perform better. So I'm just going to quickly whack a shape to the head. So okay. So that's not a bad shape. But if we come with the green one, again we'll grab green. I've got to try and remember to. Okay, so they're both pretty much the same. That one's a little bit too high. Pretty much the same. Um, to get your head to look more like a head, have a secondary one, usually around about the same size, but I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Move that one forward, maybe not much, and go like that. So that there's your cheeks, your jaw and stuff like that, and that would be your skull. And obviously, if you look at a human head, an average human head, the skull part and the jaw part is sort of the same. So when you look on the side, it's sort of almost straight up and down. Whereas this, as you can see, yeah, it's got the skull size, and you can move that around to make it look as good as possible, but you're still going to see that looks odd. The jaw is not that small and all that. If you want to have a pointier thing, do this. Then come in and grab your sculpting tool and go to remove. Choose the cube or of similar shape. So you can get away with that, you can get away with that, all those things. But because it's on minus, just scale it down. Actually, I won't change the color so you can see it. Um, uh, L1, I've got to try and remember what they call it. L1, left shoulder, and square. So hover, L1 square will bring up these, just add some blend. This one here and this one here and this one here are the most useful tools when it comes to this. And you're going to choose a fair amount. And just go to roughly there, then grab it, scale it up, move it into how you like it. And you look on the side and you can see that looks pretty good. And you can just move it to how the head size you want. And then do the clone again and grab the exact same one, bring down the jaw and just angle it and bring it in. Close enough's good enough. And there's your head shape. Obviously, eyes, nose, and mouth, that's all preferences. Whether you want it to be a longer face, a shorter face, a wider face, narrow face, that's your average shape. And for a nose, my favorite one is this one here, or that one with a bit of blend. But you can also get away with the circle or the cone. Cone's good for like anime characters. So if I grab the cone, for example, and we'll go to surface snap. When you're doing the head, the neck, back so you can see, head, neck, torso, or hips, my recommendation is keep the mirror tool on. But if you don't want to see the line, hit the eyeball there, and it will remove that, but the mirror will still be on. So if I grab that and grab the cone, for an anime character, you grab the cone. Again, come in here for some blend. Not so much with the detailings, and then just place it to where you want the nose to be. So say about there. And there's your anime nose. If you want to get more of a realistic nose, for example, this tool here, the curve tool, go to roughly the size you want the nose to be. So we're going to go about that size. Again, with the left shoulder, L1 and square, it'll bring up that, and you just drag it down. It will change the shape of it. This is the one where you can actually move it around, but we're going to leave it like that, and we want to add some blend to it. So then we want to line it straight, roughly where the bridge would be, place, and this is where you can come in. You grab any part of it, move it to roughly where you like it. That's not a bad position. And for the nostrils, because that tool that's already there, just clone it again, move it across, angle it, place it roughly where the nostrils would be, take it back to where the nostrils would be, and in. Like that. And then that, as you want to make more characters, you can change that quite easily. You could make that bigger, make it longer, you can curve and stuff like that, but we're going to leave it like that for now, and I'll show you what not to do. Go here, we'll grab the red. Okay. I've seen this a lot. For example, grabbing that tool there, just coming in and going, no blend, no nothing, just go, oh yeah, nose is about there, plonk it, there's a nose. So that does not look good. Or even circle, put no blend on it, no nothing, just coming in, going, plonk, there's a nose. You can get away with that one when you're doing like a clown or a Muppet looking character, but if you want to do more of a realistic looking character, blend. Blend is your best friend. So I'll leave that there for that for knots. So there's your don'ts, there's your do's. And as you can just see, that looks so much better than that already. And with the eyes, hey viewer, just tips and tricks, what to do and what not to do when you're building a character in Dreams. Red puppets, what not to do. So as you can see, like the nose even looks like way off, whereas this one here's nose is good. With the eyes, again, grab the skull. We'll choose the same color. The easiest way is using negatives. So when you're on the thing, just, for example, if you're in the circle, just click on that, go to the negatives. We're going to choose a circle or sphere. This is the easiest way to do it, and it does pass. You grab yourself a sphere, decent amount of blend, because we're making the area for the eye to sit in. So we're just going to grab it. Ideally, you want to do this before you do the nose, but I can show you how you can clone the nose to replace it afterwards. But if we go, eyes are about there, and then you can adjust its orientation a little bit, bring it forward just a touch. And people are going to go, oh, but that's horrible. So yeah, because that's where the eye's going to sit. Then we're going to grab the same one, but we're going to go to positives. So you can see like that, and you can scale up to scale that ball you're on now roughly to the size you want the eyeballs to be, so we'll say about that. And this is where you're going to go L1 and square. You're going to go the section over here. I recommend 1, but you can do 2, and then give it a good amount of that. That will hollow it out, so if you check it out now, it's actually hollow. And that's what we want, because we want to set it to roughly there. Go like this. We're going to do 1 for the bottom and 1 for the top, but we're going to go blend. You use your judgment. This is all your styling. So you go bottom, top. Don't worry about positioning it perfectly straight off the bat, because then you can come in, grab it, and then bring it in. And the reason you do the the sync first and then this is because then you can adjust the sync to match with the eye socket, the eye, because these are the eye lids or eye socket areas, whatever we call it. So we're just going to place it so it looks about right. Okay, let's come back a bit. Let's come back. And now if you want it to be more realistic, obviously you'd keep the center of where that is to the center of where the eye is going to be. So you'd go more like that. And with the top one you do more like that. And then you can grab the sunken part, if you can find it there, and move it to how the size that you need it to be. So if you need it in more, move it in more. So I'd say about there looks pretty good. That's not bad. Again, I'm not going to go into all, I can spend hours tweaking its adjustments and stuff like that. But that's how you do the eyes. I've seen a lot of people do it, and they've come on and go, we'll match the color again. They'll come in and grab just a standard sphere. That's on green again. Okay. And just go plonk. And then they'll stick an eye in that. And it's even worse when they do that and they get just a standard extra sculpt. And they just grab a standard sphere and go white. Grab it. And then move it out to where they want it. Put it in the head. And do it like that. It's like, that's not how you do eyes. It's like, that looks so weird. Like, if you're keen to make an alien or something like that, then you could get away with it, but for the right kind of character, that's not what you want. You want it to look humanoid, or at least like it belongs in the human race. Even right now, I can't stand the fact that it's not sitting right. Okay. I'll leave it at that, because that's usually what you see. That's usually what you get. Whereas with this one here, I've already created eyes, but I'm not gonna place them in the scene. So I'll show you how you do what I've basically done here. So we'll grab sphere. Now, ideally with the eyes, you don't want the mirror on at this point. We're going to make a sphere around about the same size as the eye we made before. And then we're going to align it. It's just the thing I do. You don't have to align it. And then you move it into position. So we'll say about... yeah, that looks fine. And then we're going to go clone with the precise move on, so the eyes are always aligned with each other, and just go straight across to this roughly right in the other eye. Come into those. Ideally, ideally, you don't want it to be on the same thing, so you back out, then clone it, because we want them to want to better move them. So we'll do that, and we'll do the same thing again. So that now that they are separate pieces, left and right eye. Fine adjust it if you want. So it's got to go about there. Click on both, so click X on it, then X on that, or cross. Then bring up this tool, the grid snap, and just while you've got it highlighted, just keep clicking across until it is inside the head. So now when you back out, when you highlight the head, it will include the eyes. And that way the eyes are now attached to the head. But to prevent any issues, we're going to come in and grab them both. And we're going to make sure that collidable is turned off. Friction, density. We're not going to worry about gravity just now. And the friction here, you can adjust. You don't have to have 0. I put it on 0 to start with to make it easy for myself. But that's that done. So there's the eyes. So if I back all the way out, we'll turn the grid off so you can see it. There's a good head. There's a bad head. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just that it's not nice. And with this head here, as you can see, like the mouth part, it still doesn't look right. You can tweak that. My suggestion for that is once you've done this, go into it. If you want to make a talking mouth, obviously use the technique I showed you on my other videos. But this one here, we're not going to make a talking head. I'm just going to grab the clone tool. Actually, no. If you use the clone tool to move down, it'll move the thing. So grab the sphere, and we're going to that. So that. I'm going to give it a scaling of around about. I'm looking at the. Hang on, if I got this cross line here. I'm using that as a guide. So I'm going to line it up so that that is kind of where the cheek would be, and then I will twist it so that those two in the bottom will all kind of line up to where they'd meet. Then we're going to go this, stretch it that way a little bit, and add some blend. And then you can fine adjust. And we want to make like a love heart shape. We're going to scale it down a little bit. Now with that, we just move it back till it's roughly, because you can adjust it, how you want your mouth shape to be. So, go there. That's not looking too bad. And then I want to grab another one, just clone it and move it back, just to add some jawline, but that's got to be a little bit higher, maybe a little bit twisted that way. That is the easiest way to make the jaw bit. Get rid of it. I'm not going to worry about doing the mouth part and everything like that, because as it stands right now, you can just grab this, come into here, grab a negative. Best tool for the mouth to start with is this one here. Scale it to roughly the size you want the opening of the mouth to be. So you'd come in, you go about that. I'm not going to color it so you can see it, but then you add on to that using either that, doesn't matter, but you'd come along to here, grab that for example, and then you'd scale that, you'd blend that and scale it to the size of the mouth. So you get it there-ish. We're going to narrow it and grow it a little bit, move it like that, and then just place it to roughly where we want the lips. Again, use your own judgments. There's no right or wrong about positionings. There's a good and a bad, but no right or wrong. They can actually be skinnied a bit. They're a little bit too fat. Again, in real life, I've got skinnier lips, so I can get rid of that. Cone the bottom ones up. Right, that is roughly how I want the mouth. As you can see, I've got the gap around the side there. Just try and get your thing to line up to get the original hole. Scale it down a little bit until it's just right. There's a mouth. By no means is that perfect. I could sit there and tweak it for hours, but I'm not going to. So that's how you do it. Whereas what I see a lot is people come in like this, and they'll go, I've got to change that to a red. Actually, I'll make it white so you can see it. And they'll grab, for example, this one and try and shape it. Can you not do that, please, game? Thank you. So they'll scale it down. And of course, this could be shaped. They'll go, oh yeah, a lip is shaped. Go to there, skinnier on the outside, and then curve it down a little bit like that. Because that's the shape of a lip. Hi viewer. Yeah, so that would be the shape of the lip, and they'll just plonk it in like that. Boom, and there's your mouth. And that doesn't always work out well. Scaling it, moving it around can help fix it. But yeah. Try to avoid that, and try to do more like that one, where you put the hole in first, and then build the lips around the hole. Don't just plonk your lips on the skull, because unless you're going for that style, it's not going to look good. It's going to be more of the weird look. Okay. Ears. I'm not going to get too much in the ears, but best way for the ears, grab your head sculpt again, and grab positive. We're going to grab the fill donut. Make it green. This is what I find to be the best or easiest way to do it. That is not the correct green. Just find your positioning on the side of the head. Ideally, you want it so the top is eyebrow or eye area, and the bottom is kind of like the nose mouth area, so about there-ish. And positioning forward and back, you want to be about halfway. Obviously, tweak to your liking. If you want it to be more anime styled, you'd lower the ears. If you want it to be more manga or evil, you'd raise the ears. But that is the best way to do ears. If you want to make it a little bit more realistic, give it some angle backwards. And then you can grab the sphere, go to the minus or the remove, shrink it down, and you want to go to the blend tool again and give it a little bit of blend. And we're just going to grab a slightly larger one at the top and go about there somewhere, and a slightly smaller one at the bottom, about there somewhere. And then just adjust it to how you want it, like that. And then if you want to go even further, you can grab that one and we just clone it and move it into the head a little bit. And shrink it a little bit like that. And that there is a perfectly fine ear. It's simple and easy to do. A lot of people try and make a detailed ear or anything like that. It's like, don't bother. Just so long as you don't come to the skull. And grab this, that, and go plonk. And grab, just say, sphere. Shrink it to the size and go, oh yeah, I want it to be ears. Plonk an ear down. And then they'll sit there and go, oh, how do I fix that to look like an ear? Then they'll grab all these other tools, like maybe that one, and go like that. Oh, that looks like an ear. It's like, no, that looks horrible. It's like, don't do that. You can tweak that all you want. It's not going to look like a good ear. It's going to look like an alien or something like that. Again, if you're going for an alien, then it's fine. So yeah, that's a don't. And that's a do. And just on the head, that's pretty much all I can really give you tips on the head. Now, if we move to joins, a lot of people will grab them and go, oh, I need to sculpt it, so they'll move it up and they'll put it in the T-pose. Don't put it in the T-pose. Please don't put it in the T-pose. Leave, especially if you want to do a screenshot and stuff like that, don't pose the character for a screenshot. Go into the puppet, grab a keyframe, place the keyframe into the puppet, then pose it. So for example, you want a slight sassy pose. So you go, let's lean it to there, and like that. So now when someone's playing as the puppet, so I'll exit and play as the puppet, it's not T-posing, it's not doing the sassy pose, nothing like that. But if you want to take the screenshot, there's two easy ways to do it. You can either come in to the item and manually turn it on, then go into play, and as you can see it's active, and then you just screenshot it from that. Or, using the, where are we there? The controller, you can come into here and either go that to make a toggle. So for example, if you want triangle to be posed, run triangle into there, and then run the B into the pose. So now when you possess the puppet, and you want to do the pose to take the photo, just push triangle. It'll then hold the pose, and then when you come to take the photo, it's doing the pose. But when you're playing as the puppet, on that, you can still walk around as normal. it's not going to throw a wrench in the works. So that's how you could fix when you get you find people's creations and you get a puppet and it's at this weird pose, and then when you walk, it does this weird walk. Don't pose the puppet from the standard. Put a keyframe into the puppet and then make it toggleable, or you can manually go in and switch it on or off. And joints. My tip is grab the X-ray mode and the connector mode, turn them on, and look at where this centerpiece is. The biggest problem is that joint, and the buttocks. So I'll show you the joints here from the factory or from the developer. That one there, move it up. I can guarantee you, moving it to that joint will make it move a lot smoother. And do the same with the bottom one. Oops, grab that. Okay, and grab that and move that to the joint. Use the joins here as guides to place the center of the ball joint, because they're ball joints and they're just hinges, I suppose you can call them. But just adjusting that and that little bit when you're doing play mode and you move the puppet around, it's just going to move that more naturally around the midsection. The arms and the legs are normally pretty good, but still by all means adjust to your likings and then you'll be good. Now, butt cheeks. This is one that really annoys me. I'll show you the incorrect way to do it first. Let's grab sphere for a butt. And because we're doing the legs, we want to turn the mirror off. And then we're just going to scale it up. Oh yeah, butts are about there. But if you see, I'm attached to the leg here. Put the button there. Move it till it looks right. Right, it's not the best butt, but it's a butt. And then when you back out, and you walk around, oh, you get butt jiggle. Oh, wow. It's not, no, the butt is not attached to the legs. It's like, no, do not do that. That's a don't. The do is attach it to this piece. We're going to turn the clone on. We're going to select the color. We're going to add a small amount of blend. The less blend you add, the more defined the butt will be. The more defined, the more blend you put, the more covered up look it will have. So like it's in underwear or something. So we'll go back there, about the same spot. I'm not gonna reshape or anything like that at the moment, and we'll plonk it in and move to roughly where it needs to be so it matches the other one. Okay, that's about right. So as you can see, that one's an incorrect. That one is a correct. I don't want to use that term, but that's the way it's done. So that's that. And then with that, you can now adjust the legs to match. So with this one here, because the butt's on the legs, it's like, how do you fix that? It's like, well, you could do a whole lot of shaping and a whole lot of blending. Or you can grab that, you'd go a fair bit of tool, and for the upper muscle, it's always kind of that shape. Grow it a bit, move it to roughly where it needs to be, and then slide it in and rescale. So that is how you do that version of the leg. There's nothing wrong with the shape. It's all relatively normal. It's just that the butt cheek is in the wrong spot. This one here, do the same as what you've done with the upper leg on that. Go into there. I'll match the color just so you can see. There we go. I'm not even going to change the shape. I'm just going to go plonk. Go to about there, and then move it into where it needs to be. Once you've placed it in like that, that's when you can do your fine adjustments. Like, oh yeah, it needs to be more tilted that way, or like if you look on the side, it needs to be more that. And depending on the style of character you're going for, is where you'd place it. For a more realistic, you need to place ideally more than just the one shape, because your upper leg's got like your inner muscle on the front, your outer muscle on the front, and then you've got the big one on the back. So, but we're not going to go into that much detail, but that's how you do it. And that's the leg part done. And then we're even going to come in and adjust. Check the positioning of the ball joint in comparison to where the butt and where the leg would be hinging from. So as you can see there, that looks a little low where that butt is. So ideally I need to move that up to about there-ish. So move that on to match. And I won't adjust this one, I'll leave that as it is. So that's ideally what you do. Now that looks a little too far forward, but I'll leave it as it is. And now if you jump into that puppet and move it, it still moves normal because you've only tweaked the adjustments. But when you do like your extreme poses, like bending over, twisting sideways, everything is attached and it's not getting mass amounts of yuckiness. Whereas the other one that I haven't done that to, as you can see, when I do mass tweak, look, that doesn't look human. That looks like, what the hell is that? So even if you want the jiggly butts, I have a model that is it's purely just jiggly butts that you can attach to any puppet. In fact, I'll quickly show you what it looks the jiggly butt looks like if I grab that. I believe I uploaded it. Oh, there is there. Oh no, it's private. So this here is my model for a jiggly butt. It's literally just the torso, just the hip. But if you look on the back, it's got two butt cheeks. So they're shaped, so they're not just balls. And if you come in, they're attached. So they're actually attached to that via a hinge. So if I bring up my X-ray, you can see there's the ball joints, and it's got a chip in it, so you can adjust how much, how springy it will be, so how easily it will go back to its neutral, or you can have none. So it will be like if I go to play, it literally just I'll hide the bit so you can't see it. If I do that, like you can see, it's literally as floppy as it can be. Show you again. See, like it's super floppy. You don't always necessarily want it that, so that's why it's got the sliders in it. So you can go like this, 70 or 80, so 7%, oops, sorry, 0.7 because it's in percentages. So like 0.7, 0.8 on that slider. That's how much angle it can move. So if I now do play now, it didn't look like it moved. But if I move the item, it will jiggle. And this one here is how much it will move during that jiggle. So if I show you on an actual like puppet, so you can see what I'm talking about. Rewind. Actually, I'll attach it to there, but I won't put it on the actual puppet. I'll put it next to it, just so you can see. So if I grab the puppet, when I move, as you can see, the butt actually jiggles around. So if you want to add a jiggly butt, it also works exactly the same for if you want to make breasts or male anatomy. It all works pretty much the same. You could do that exactly what I've done there on that butt. It isn't publicly released because I don't want the moderators to flag it as inappropriate because we're babies. So that's why it's not released. But it's there. If someone wants it and they request it, I can share it with them. But that is the whole butt area. So attach it to the hip, not the legs. Because as you can see on this one here, like even just looking on the side here, that looks so much more human than what this does. It might give you that when you're walking, that butt wiggle look, but the second you do something weird or have a part of that does not, just that little bit there does not look human. Whereas if you grab the other puppet and do the exact same movement like that still looks human. Now obviously you'd reshape the top part of the hip, and hey viewer, and my best suggestion for that top part of the hip rescaling is do what you've done with the head. Come in with the clone on, grab a square or a cube on the minus, scale it down. Here, the scaling doesn't matter, it can go that small. Blend, decent amount because we're shaving off, and place. Then you move it to the spot where you want, so we're going to the side of the hip. And we're going to cut off a good chunk of it, so we're going to come fairly big and then place. And as you can see, like that does not look good. We're just going to move it out until it's cut off enough of the top where it would look like it comes from the leg and straight up. That is how you'd cut that shape to a much more usable. See, it's a lot more usable shape now. Now, obviously, add extra shapes to make it blend if you want it to be seamless. I can show more of that, but the easiest way to do it, come to the front, grab the sphere, place it roughly where the ball joint, if I'll show you again, back out there, that one and that one. See where the ball joint is, so we're going to take a note of that, so it's about there. We're going to grab the hip, place it roughly where it is, add some blend to it, place, and then move it till it fits, like, scale it up. So about there. That's not looking too bad. And again, just keep scaling until it gets to the point where it's like, that looks abnormal, and take it back a little bit. So that looks pretty good. So now when you're coming out and you move around, the leg looks like it joins the hip a lot more. And when you move, it doesn't look too abnormal. Obviously, as I was saying in one of my previous videos, the issue with seamless is like if we do a weird shape, you'll see poker. But there, if you look, that is actually pretty good. And if you don't want it to be, you can do that and you can see how bad it looks. Come on into the actual puppet itself. And we're going to grab while the entire puppet is highlighted, we're going to go L1 and square to bring up its controls or settings, what do we call it? Properties. And we want to go to upper body, which is that one. That one. All we want to do is half it. So if it's a 50, get 25%. Now when you grab the puppet, the amount it will move is reduced. Whereas if you look at this other puppet, it's still on max. So it'll do that. Or when I say max, 50%. It's not max, but you know. So that's pretty much the main tips I can give you there. I think I've talked about how you can try and get the knees and stuff to look right by going into it, placing a sculpt, then using the exact same sculpt on the lower piece and try and place it exactly the same and align it to where the hinge is. So I'm not going to worry about getting into that on this video. The other one I suggest is while you've got that open, grab, find it, that top one there. This is a pet peeve of mine, it's annoying as hell. I'm going to run it through the same switch. I'm going to grab a B and wire it into there. So by default, it will be off because that there makes it so that, I'll have to alter the ground a little bit here so you know what I'm talking about. If I grab a sculpt, or we'll say a square, and we'll go, it doesn't have to be straight or anything, we'll go about there-ish. And we'll move it in close. And we only want it to be a little bump. You can more than easily step up onto that, but it's probably not going to do it for me. But if I grab that, I didn't do it. The red puppet, will occasionally you'll see it jumping, all on its own. You won't push jump, it'll just jump because the terrain, it's determined the terrain is I've got to jump over that. Whereas this one here, because I've now turned it off, It will never do that. It will always be on the off unless I turn it on. See how it jumped then? That was that auto jump. I never jumped then. It done it itself because it's turned on. It's gone, that terrain is too much of a difference. There it goes again. But if I turn it off and walk up to it, it will not do it. It makes the puppet a lot more usable. And same with the run function. Do the run function the same way. Grab the puppet, go into its thing, grab that, and that one there, the second one down, is its run function. By default, turn it off. Then grab, like a keyframe, I'll use the exact same keyframe, edit the keyframe by, hover over it, left shoulder, or L1, and X. That will then come up, saying it's recording. Take the slider to where you want the run to be, so I think it's about a 5, and then save it. So now the puppet will only run when that pose is active. So this one here is permanently running. I just walk forward, it runs. If I now select this other puppet, I'm now full forward, but it's still only walking. Not until I hit the button that it will then do a run. Those are my tips for good character creations. I will upload this one. So if you're on Dreams and you want to finish these puppets off, by all means. But the biggest peeves I have is definitely attaching the butt cheeks to the wrong spot. And the auto jump thing and the auto run thing. Those are my biggest peeves. The rest of it is all on your own stylings. And for the eyes, just quickly before I call it, if you want them to actually be movable, the best way for that is go in until you get the head highlighted, but not the eyes. And then we're going to grab the connectors, like this, and we're going to grab the ball joint, and we're just going to grab a spot there, and grab the center of the front, about there, and do the same with the other eye. Okay, so they're now placed, but the center is in the wrong spot, so we're going to turn on the X-ray, and we're going to grab that one and bring it down till it's in line with the blue thing, then take it back. It doesn't matter how far you go. Use the other one as a guide, so go down there and move it back. As long as they're close enough, it'll work. And then we're going to grab them both, go X, X, L1 then square. We're going to turn the springiness really high up, because we're not going to add any animation to it yet. But say that, lock rotation, use limits, and set your limits for whatever you like. Leave it at 90, doesn't matter. But right now, the eyes are now movable. I have not aligned them exactly, but they are movable. If you want to line them up exactly, while you're in this mode, grab the eye, so that you've got the eye highlighted, and then you can go hide everything else. So when you're in at the eye, only the eye is lit. And then you can go, okay, the center is, I normally use the icons as a good point. So if I come onto here, go like that. So that's roughly the center. I can now grab that and move it to the spot I want. And then once I've got it roughly how I like it, I can test it by grabbing it and moving it around. It's still nowhere near. Putting a piece of sticky tape on the screen or whatever, that can help. But aligning it with that, because it's at the very front, and then also lining it up with the where the center of the depth is. So again, if you go in there, you see the depth is to there. So the center would be about there somewhere. So if I take it back just that little bit more. No, I said the other one, thank you. So that should be around about the middle. And from the front looks fine. So that there, they should be relatively closely lined up. And yeah, it's pretty close. It's still not right, but it's pretty close. they are now pivoted right-ish. So if I now go to paint mode, I can turn it so I can see everything again. Come down to here, paint mode, white, boom, boom. We'll give it pupil-ish. Again, you can go right into it. As you can see, it's still on mirror. So turn mirror off because we don't want the eyes to be, what do you call it, off-centered. Even though the ball is off-centered. Kind of like that. So now when you're in that puppet, when you're moving around, if you jump and anything like that, the eye will actually rotate slightly because it's got the springiness to it. And if you want to make it so that when you look left and right, up and down, I can do a stream about that later. I can talk about rigging, some light controls and stuff like that. But that there, it all works. It doesn't look abnormal. It doesn't blink. It doesn't, you can't manually move the eyes or nothing like that. But as you can see, it looks like a human. It all moves correctly. So I might call it there. That's my main tips. Character creation. Red is don't. In fact, I will come into here and go. Oops. These controls are annoying me. That's the don't puppet. That's the do puppet. So if anyone downloads it and wants to give it a whirl, wants to edit them in any way, make it their own creation, by all means do it. I have better creations like proper puppets, but for example, if you want a puppet with a head, there's one with a head, and it's at a good point where you can now tweak it to your liking, make your own limbs, all this sort of stuff. So there you go, 48 minutes. That's how you create a character, the base of it. I can show you about clothing, rigging, functionality and stuff like that in another stream. But what I might do is I'm going to upload this save and share it so people can use it. And then for my next stream, I'll jump into this one and then do the next stage, like how to rig or how to add functionality. Like, for example, if you wanted to do an animation or something, I can show you that sort of stuff. But there you go. There's the stream. So if I don't stream Thursday, if I'm not well enough, I've done it today. What are we on? It is Thursday. Well, there you go. God, I hate being crook. Time just disappears. So all this time I've been thinking it's not Thursday, and it is Thursday. And I've done the stream on the correct day anyway, so oh, wow. See? Alright. Well, there's the Thursday stream. If I'm up to tomorrow, I'll do another stream. And I will do the next stage, like how to put hair on it. Maybe how to make some clothing for it. How to make it distinguishable from a male and a female and stuff like that. If that's the way you want to go. Generally speaking, I won't. Like for a female, I normally got wider hips, and males normally got wider shoulders. I don't normally do that to my puppets because I like my puppets to be multi-gendered, so that, for example, actually I'll save it. Quick. There. I'll call it sculpt for now. Okay, so that's now saved. So then I can come into here. I will tag it with template, puppet, that, done. and I'll call it stage 1. And go release, public mixable. Am I sure? Yes. Then I can go delete, delete, yes, yes, done. Okay, so that's that done. So if I grab another puppet, for example, one that's safe. There's so many that are anatomically correct that I can't show. Like for example, that one there. That one I have not scaled on, but as you can see, that one has it. Actually, no, they both got the breasts turned on. But those ones actually have a switch. You can manually turn breasts on or breasts off, and male anatomy on or off. So if you want to play as a male puppet, you turn the male parts on. That's another one, but that's hidden away. So you can turn the breasts on or the anatomy, but it doesn't change the shape of the puppet. So you can use either one. Again, if you've got dreams and you get stuck, don't be shy. Throw me a message. Live F me down the bottom there. Third Street is my Xbox or Microsoft account. So if you're getting stuck or you want to use one of my creations that you don't know how to wire it properly or whatever, don't be shy. Throw me a message. Say, dude, can I get a hand? I'm more than happy to give you a hand. If I'm not on and you're really, really desperate, throw me a PlayStation message. Say, dude, I'm on Dreams. I saw one of your creations. I want to use it. Can I use it? How can I make it do this? I will then, as soon as I can, get back to you and let you know the best way to do it and the easiest way to do it. Because generally speaking, the easiest way to do it is not necessarily the best way to do it. Like as I was showing with that, with the ears, just plonking a ball on the side of the head and carving out of it. Throwing a ball is easy, but it's not necessarily the best. Whereas the way with the filled donut, that's probably the best way to start. There are harder ways to do it that are better, like using the curve tool to make the fully sculpted ears and stuff like that. But it's like, is anyone going to spend hours on sculpting an ear that people are going to see in a glance? That's up to you. So, well, I'm going to call it. I'm going to check out what the message of the day is, and I will catch you next time. If I'm up to it, I'll do another stream tomorrow, and I'll do the next stage, clothing it, giving it hair, and maybe giving it a functionality and stuff like that. But until then, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.